Welcome back to Real Geek Media. I am Hayden Stoll, Christopher Michael Blake, our very special guest, Cody Sharpe. It is June 6, 2024. It is the 45th anniversary of Alien. We are here to talk about the bonus situation. All right, Alien. Talk to me about the first time either of you saw this movie.
I'll start off if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
I saw the movie Aliens first. 1987, Aliens came out, and for me to say it's not a top 10 movie of mine would be a lie. The movie's awesome. It was probably one of the most well put together movies. Therefore, the chest burster scene was a little bit ruined for me watching this. It was a lot slower of a pace too. The origin story with the space jockey. Yeah, it kind of got my feelings a little bit, but not quite as good as the movie Aliens. And it stinks that I kind of feel that way because I may have been robbed of 10 years of saying that was a great movie and then Aliens was a better movie. That was just my initial impression watching it first. So
I watched it when I was, I don't know, I think I was like 13 or 14 years old. Obviously, it had been out for quite some time when I finally got to see it. And I ended up just I think I was watching it with a girlfriend at the time, or a girl that I was talking to at the time, and she started crying, and it was just
Mood killer.
Well, we were watching it with her parents. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So they just it didn't work out too well. So
Now, I saw this movie before I saw Aliens, and my uncle showed this movie to me. I must have been we were what, 10 when Aliens came out, Christopher? So I must have been 8 years old, and this movie kept me up for a week after I saw it. I was terrified after watching this movie. And, then you see Aliens, and, Aliens became, for me, Predator, Aliens, Star Wars. That stuff was, on repeat VHS for me, viewing all through my teenage years. So I liked Aliens better as a kid. As an adult, I like Alien better because I can now appreciate this just dire horror movie set in science fiction space setting versus the action, packed Aliens film, which was for me as a teenager, oh, this is awesome. But as I got older, I was you know what, Aliens is a better movie. What I like about it is, I think it takes some influence from A New Hope, Star Wars Episode 4, with the very dirty, used future. Everything is very dirty on this space trailer rig that they're driving. It looks everything looks disgusting on this ship, right? Even their uniforms and their flight suits look really worn and just not pristine at all. It gave that very gritty feel to it right off the bat. And, I'm a sucker for a sci-fi movie. So, I showed this movie to my kids the end of 2023. And, it was pillow over the face. Their eyes looking over a lot of that going on. But they liked it.
Had to share that
really
torment
cool.
with you, right? Had to share that same torment that you experienced with your kids, right?
Yes, have to. As a parent, it's a rite of passage to do that, right?
I have not done that yet.
No?
I have an 8-year-old son, so he keeps bugging me to see Five Nights at Freddy.
It's good.
That's not a bad one for a younger kid.
My daughter wouldn't watch it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I might have to do it. I'm hey, we'll get him started. We'll start right in the Conjuring movies. I had as a kid, Mars Attacks was the one that freaked me out, and it scared the shit out of me.
Ack,
And then
ack,
I used-
ack. Yeah.
Ack, ack, ack.
Ack,
No,
ack.
and then my stepdad was such a dick because I had these laser tag guns, and he would go around the house because it sounded a lot like the guns in the movie. He'd be like, ack, 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 like we were trying to sleep. Be like, ah, shit.
Oh, that's too funny.
Oh.
So, the setup for the movie, right? It's this crew in space, and they're in cryo sleep, and they're awakened by a beacon that they're picking up that the company's, telling them to check out, right? They're not equipped for it. They're space truckers, right? They're not equipped for this, but, they go anyway. It's an interesting setup, right? Like, you don't know what to expect from that. Like, if this is, it's so overdone at this point. Like, everybody knows what this franchise is about, but like initial viewing, you're like, oh, all right, what's going on? And then they get on this planet and it's just dark and there's wind and you can't see anything. And then when they get to the ship where the space jockey is, and you're just like, what in the world is that thing? Like, what is this? So as a viewer, first viewing, if you can recall back to that, I know for me, like, that stuff is just like, what in the world is going on in this movie? Like, this is crazy. I would be running for my life as they put me back on the ship. I'm Lambert through like the first half of this movie, right? That's me. Like, I was like, I don't want to go in there. I don't want to do any of this, but that's like another thing is like each of these characters, like, Dallas as the captain and Lambert as pretty much the audience, like, just no, not doing it. Don't want to touch it. I'm not going in there, and then you have, the crew, like the engineers, Parker and Brett, and the bonus situation, they're just like the everyman, like, I better be getting paid if I'm going to be landing on this planet.
And you think about it, Hayden, is that proletariat versus the corporation mindset is still prevalent today. I mean, it still speaks to today. They're only getting half shares, but they're the most important people on that ship.
Yeah.
They crash on that planet. Oh, who's going to save us? Who's going to help us lift off? They're the ones who are tasked. If we get this done in 17 hours or 12 hours or 22 hours,
yeah,
it's them. They're not lifting off, and they're only getting half shares.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That's some garbage. They're the most important ones there.
It is.
And then the objective, the crew is, expendable. I mean, if I were to die today, my company would be like, all right, we got another person to replace you. Have a good day. My company would show up at my funeral. Did you deliver the load?
Yeah, right. Do you still have your keys? We need those.
We need those back.
Yeah.
It's even worse because Ian Holmes sitting right there being like, does not compute, rip your head off, shove a magazine down your throat.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that just shows you they didn't trust these people to begin with. We had to hide a robot on ship.
Yeah. It really has something to say about like the corporate structure and just your line workers who are just toiling away. And for Parker and Brett, like you said, when they couldn't get the engine started to lift off from the planet, right? Who's going to do it? You make a great point. It's like it's Parker and Brett are going to do it, but they're not getting what they should be getting. Yeah, exactly. It's interesting.
Yeah, I guess the biggest plot twist for me was the fact that they did hide a robot and that Asher was a robot. That was like the biggest plot. Wow, I can't talk. Plot twist.
I've heard it both ways.
Wow. So I would say that was the biggest plot twist in the whole movie. Like, because at first I was like, oh, did he become an alien too? And then you find out, no, he's a fucking robot.
That was terrifying.
It was.
It's terrifying. Like, they crack him over the head with the fire extinguisher, and he starts spurting milk everywhere. And you're
Money
like,
shot.
Yeah. I'm like, what is going on? And he's like just overpowering everybody. He's holding off Parker, who's like the biggest guy there. trying to roll up the magazine and jam it down Ripley's throat. It's crazy. And, the even before that, when you get to the alien comes out, like they discover it goes onto the face. They bring him back to the ship, and Ripley will not let them in, right? She's the one, the voice of reason. No, that's breaking a protocol. We can't do that. If he's sick, we're not bringing that on board. You guys got to stay out there. We can't do it. And Ash is just like, yeah, override. Come on board. And, right at that moment, Ripley should have been like, what is going on here? Why would you do that? It's just that whole thing. And he's sitting there in the med bay with the alien on his face. And it's just like, what is going to happen to this guy? Like,
well, and then Ash has the audacity to lie to Ripley, right? She looks over her shoulder into the screen, and you almost see the egg almost dropping into his throat, right? I mean, down his esophagus. I mean, at least that's what I think it is.
Yeah, it's...
And he shuts the screen off real quick. Oh, it's nothing. There's nothing there. I'm just doing a follow-up. And he's guilty. I mean, he can't even lie straight at that point.
Yeah. And it's funny because she's onto it, but she's powerless to really do anything. She's not the captain. She's like the second officer or whatever. It's all through Dallas, and Dallas defers all scientific things to Ash, right? So she's stuck. She knows something up, but she's kind of stuck. It's a dead end. And, when they get to the sequence where they're eating, and we talked a little bit about this before we started recording. When they're eating, okay. Now, a lot of what is the story around the time where this was, I guess they were filming this, like the actors didn't know what to expect from this scene. So you're getting the genuine shock and horror reactions from them about what's happening in front of them, when they're filming this. So that is like very cool. Now this scene is just like so iconic and gruesome way to die. Like that. I mean, I think at the time people were just like getting up out of the theaters, getting sick in the theaters because of this scene, right? This thing just pops out through his chest, and everybody in the theater is like, what just happened? Yeah.
Scared the shit out of me.
Yes.
I got something that can scare the shit out of you even more. Does anybody know what the alien's teeth was made out of?
The teeth?
Yes.
No.
Ready?
What?
Broken condoms.
The teeth? Really?
Yes. Broken condoms.
What?
Yeah. I looked it up before I was like, what? Couldn't be. Yeah.
That's interesting.
It must be true. It's on IMDb.
Well, I mean, everything I'm on IMDb, so
I saw that. I actually saw that. Believe it or not, I did see that. You got to update that webpage, though.
You know how much it cost me to get put on IMDb?
No, how much?
It was like $25.
Oh.
You gotta sign up for the IMDb Pro.
Gotcha.
They took my pictures off when I canceled the subscription because it's like $25 a month, but they left the actual profile up there, so it works. It works. So just because someone is on IMDb doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, I think even at one point, right? You're not sure what. Okay, you saw the alien come out, and then you're having like the cat. Is it the cat? Is it the alien? Like what are we in for here, right? Nobody kind of knows what to expect. It was little when it came out of him. You got the cat. The alien was orange at the time when it popped out of him, and like there's just, if you don't know like first viewing what to expect, you're just like, this is what is happening. And then you get the scene where they're looking for the cat, and Brett is looking solo in that room with the chain and all the condensation dripping down. And then you get the alien, and it's horrifying, right? Like, just picture yourself in a scenario like that. And, you know, I had asked you in the previous interview about a time where you were terrified. And this would meet that.
But I wouldn't have been stupid. One, for going alone when there's an alien and you don't know. I mean, it just came out of somebody's chest. Like, I'm not going anywhere alone. And number two, the cat starts hissing. Okay?
Yeah. Red flag.
Red flag. Turn around. Let's reevaluate the situation. Did I bring a gun? No, I did not. Oh shit. Oh, that's the alien. Look over there. Run.
Yeah.
I would have. Listen, if I was on the crew filming that movie, or as part of the cast, and I had no idea, I would have probably shit my pants. I'm not gonna lie, it would have happened. Clean up on aisle my shorts.
Yeah.
You mentioned the cat hissing. Do you know how they got the cat to hiss?
Was it a broken condom?
No. They had a screen, like a see-through screen, and they had a Doberman. They'd bring the Doberman closer to the screen, and the cat would back away and hiss. That's how they got the reaction from the cat.
Interesting.
Fucked up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Poor kitty.
Interesting.
But, let me ask you guys a question, and you guys can both give me your opinion on this. From the time that the alien bursts out of the chest to the time that Brent finds the the shedding, how much time has passed?
Good question.
I think a couple of hours.
It feels like it should be a couple hours, right?
Yeah.
Was it ever like a timeline set up for any of this? But it does feel like it should be a couple hours.
I would say less than 4. I mean, that's my gut feeling on it. Is it's less than 4.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I have no way to prove that, but I mean, that's what I'm guessing is that. But you remember they go back and they say when they're dripping the blood, you know, through the ceiling, it's going through all these decks. It's acid, and they're like, this thing's the perfect weapon. And this just harkens back to the fact that this thing's growth, where it can turn into this killing machine that's larger than Brent at that point, in 4 hours. That's an amazing metabolism change. I mean, that's almost instantaneous. It becomes a weapon in 4 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, before we go too far on, the design of the alien, you know, H.R. Giger designed it, and like, this is something that is so like iconically creepy and scary, and you know, just the fact that this was in his head is just like, what else is in your head? Like, if this is what you came up with, like, it's terrifying.
Natasha Hendricks is in his head.
Oh.
Yeah, Species, right?
Species, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great movie. I mean, she's hot as. Oh, I mean, please.
Well, let's talk about Sigourney Weaver. You know,
Yeah.
the final scene. You know,
Yes.
she's in her underwear and a white T-shirt. I mean, she was hot.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like, it gets you to the point where it turns into like a traditional horror movie in that last sequence where she's running back and forth, trying to shut down the self-destruct, find the cat, restart the self-destruct, and then get to the life pod, and it's in there. And like, but that whole sequence is like, you know, it turns into the slasher film, like at the end of it. Once everybody's killed off and she's just like running for her life, you could supplant that with like just any horror, like, you know, final girl scenario.
Yeah, and I was surprised that, I mean, I don't know. The cast that they had was phenomenal. I mean, you got Ian Holm. He went on. He was what? Frodo. He played Frodo.
Yep. Old Frodo. Yep.
Yep. You got John Hurt, who did a lot of amazing things.
Yeah.
He was in V for Vendetta. You got, you know, Tom Skerritt. He was Viper. This is what happened. So the timeline doesn't work that well, but he was Viper, retired from the Navy, and then went and became a captain on this ship. His retirement plan did not work out.
No, it didn't work.
So, and then Sigourney Weaver, you know.
Yeah. Well, Yaphet Kotto was probably one of the biggest names in that cast as Parker. And, you know, just as they're getting, pared down to the final group, and it's Parker, Lambert, and Ripley, and the scene where Parker and Lambert are moving the equipment around, and the alien comes into the room, and the tail comes up between Lambert's legs, and there's a lot of like those overtones of like the sexuality of the alien, and there's actually a deleted scene where there's a little more to that scene where it does this like weird ritualistic kind of dance before it kills her. If you could probably find it on YouTube, it's really creepy.
Now they steal that scene from the Prometheus movie too, don't they? Where they're in the shower with. That
was Alien Covenant, where they have the shower death. Yeah.
With the guy who, right.
Jussie Smollett.
Right, Jussie Smollett. Right.
It wasn't the alien. It was. This is Alien Country.
Yeah. But let me ask you guys a question. So, in the deleted scenes, depending on which version you watch, because they never really show what happened to Dallas, right?
Oh, I've seen this scene, yeah.
Right.
I have not.
So there's a scene where Ripley at the end of the movie, she's running from the condensers, and Dallas is being cocooned into the wall. Like she actually finds part of it's kind of like the aliens hallway where everything's kind of corroded, but corroded from what? And then Brent's over there. He's like almost full blown. And Dallas says the line that's in the movie Aliens. It's, "Please kill me." And what do you think is going on in him at that point, Hayden? I mean, I don't know.
My interpretation of that scene is that they're being kind of turned into an egg. That's my interpretation of it. And I'm kind of glad it was cut, because I don't think it really added too much at that point, right? I think it's disgusting, like, horrifying that, it snatches these people and turns them into an egg so they become face huggers. Even that would be more terrifying than a queen laying the egg, because these things can like self-reproduce, right?
Oh.
In a sense, you know what I mean? Like, because that's like crazy. There would be no queen laying the eggs. It's just, okay, I'm just going to kill you and I'm going to turn you into one. Like, that's horrifying. But I think the movie's better without that scene in it, in my opinion.
And for continuity's sake, it certainly doesn't make any sense. I mean,
yeah,
she's running through these condensers now. I don't understand. I mean,
yeah,
I didn't understand that myself. I was just, I really didn't quite get that. But I always wondered about what is going on. Are they being part of the secreted wall? Are they being turned into an egg? Because I did read that online too.
Yeah.
They're being turned into eggs, and I was like, that doesn't make very much sense, knowing what we've given about the alien queen. But I mean, really, these things are kind of asexual.
Yeah.
So, no, because I was at Paranormal, Cryptos and Paranormal this past weekend, and there was one presentation where I don't want to get too far off into this, but it's pretty good. The presenter goes, "Have you ever seen Bigfoot?" And everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I've seen Bigfoot." "Well, is it a boy or a girl?" "Well, it has to be a man because of the shoulder length and the size." And he goes, "Well, did you see its penis?" And then he begins showing penises of monkeys up on the screen. I told you, this goes in the toilet humor, Cody. You had no idea what you signed off for.
I'll have to talk to my agent.
And people were so horrified by this, they were coming back and complaining to the other authors. But, I mean, you don't see any genitalia on these aliens, so how are they reproducing? It's like the chicken and the egg theory. Well, how does one... And we get the answer later on that, allegedly David was creating these things, but I don't take that as canon. I hate to say that. Yeah. I prefer to ignore that even happened.
There's just a queen. We're not going to worry about David and Prometheus.
Again, I like the Prometheus and Alien Covenant movies. I just prefer not to admit that they exist in that timeline. I just don't.
That's fair.
I mean, we don't see an alien genitalia. So I mean, if we don't see one, how do you know if it's male or it's asexual or how these things are reproducing.
That is something I really didn't like. The most average person just go in to watch these movies like, gee, I wonder how big of a dick does the alien have? Honey, why can't you have one that big?
I mean, did you bet the over on DraftKings that would come up tonight, or?
In all seriousness, no, the alien was played by a 6'10" African man, so I'm sure he was very well endowed. I'm sure of it, but I'm not going to check.
Lift up its tail, Dallas.
I
Yeah, that's another cut scene between Ash and Dallas.
Aliens After Dark. You can only see it on Cinemax after 11 p.m.
Ridley Scott was way into this thing.
Apparently, well, what's funny is you actually had mentioned, his, it kind of gave you like a New Hope, type of vibe. And, what's funny is that was actually part of his, it was the New Hope. I just read this and I'm going to find it again. A New Hope, a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and A Space Odyssey. So,
right.
So yeah, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Hey, what's funny is going back and watching all these movies that were made in like the 70s and 80s that depict, like the 2000s.
Yes.
And how shitty the technology is. That's like, wow. No one could have imagined you would have a smartphone in your pocket. Like
Back to the Future 2 had us flying around in cars by now, but
we're
not quite there yet.
I still think it's funny. The slime that was used in the Alien was KY jelly.
Yeah. Yes. Used to perfection.
I wanna know who the prop master was on that. We need to find something.
Ridley's up there over the camera just pouring it like. I don't want you to move. I'm gonna dump this on you.
Yes.
Just act horrified.
I need 2 tanker trucks full of KY jelly, please. Yeah. What? It's on back order.
Closing early today.
I guess we're gonna have to use Astroglide. Wouldn't it suck if they got the heating stuff?
Oh God.
The south heating.
Oh my God.
Alien.
But they probably would have been better to effect because the blood is acid, so that might have worked a little better.
Probably. I mean, Alien ribbed for her pleasure.
That's coming out in August.
Is it really? Awesome. Let me take the wife to this movie. Seriously, you will feel like nothing has been inside you before.
Yeah, I think you even nailed the tagline for it.
Yeah. Fucking burst right through your chest.
Oh man. But yeah, so
I hate it. It's just like I don't know how to respond to that.
I can't segue. I got no Bob Costas segue for that. So I'm just gonna say
I can segue one way. John Hurt did reprise his role in this movie. I don't know if you remember or not.
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, yeah, absolutely. And they came out and did the
Not again.
Pizza the Hut.
Pizza the Hut.
John Hurt is such a phenomenal actor. Like, I think one of the greatest films that I loved him in was V for Vendetta.
So good, yes.
Just every
such
year
a good movie.
I watch that. And then when they had him do the Doctor Who 50th anniversary special where he played,
awesome.
I just like tears.
Yeah, he's very good. He's very good.
One of my favorite movies, and he's not the lead actor in this, but is Tinker Tailor Soldier.
Yes.
Spy, and I like watching that at least once a year, and it's just watching him play Big X. It's like yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Guy's a great actor.
Yep. Yep.
I will have to say though that the original Alien and then Alien, the difference between Alien and Aliens, and not just like the dialogue and everything, it goes from like this low budget film to like this blockbuster budget in between the two. Because Alien, it looks like a college, university shot it, with the quality and the the segues in the movie. It seems like it's a great movie. Do not get me wrong, but it seems like it was just haphazardly edited. But again, I'm looking at it from 2024 perspective, as opposed to 1979.
One of the things I enjoy about Aliens, again, the 1987 film compared to Alien, is how much Jim Cameron borrows from the movie Alien. The scene where Dallas is running around in the conduits, that's almost where they're sitting there with the motion detectors. Where's it at? It could be anywhere. It's in the ceiling. It's in the floors.
You're not reading it right.
Right. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
The robot, and there's some of the lines, please kill me, like we just mentioned. Those all borrowed from the 1979 film, which shows you that movie was way ahead of its time, though.
Yeah.
So it has that low budget sense, but the sequel, which is phenomenal, just captures the very essence of that movie, and just enhances it so well. I can't argue with either movie. I really can't.
Yeah, both great films. They really, and they're so different that it's hard to compare them side by side, which is the better. They're almost different genres. Horror, sci-fi versus action. It's great movies, though. Great.
The other thing, go ahead. Cody,
I was going to agree with him. It's almost like it is a completely different genre of a movie, and I'm just reading all of these facts on this movie. I should have did this before, but I was rewatching, and I watched the director's cut. I didn't go. I went all out and watched the director's cut because I'm a nerd like that. I'm the type of person that actually likes to watch, and then I'll go listen to the DVD.
I was just going to say something about the commentary. I was
the
just
DVD commentary. Like, I'm so full of useless knowledge. My wife hates it, but like, it's just I'm. But again, I mean, you go from we're heading back home to now we're in the fight of our life, and it's just a slow build. It is a very, very slow build. And I remember the first time I watched it, I'm like, this movie. I thought this movie was supposed to be scary. This is and then when we get to the chest burster scene, and then boom, you're in it. And that's where it takes off.
For me, one of the scary things about the Alien itself is the fact that it's hiding in plain sight. It's up on top of the chain link thing. You almost pan over it, but you're not sure what you're looking at. And then you see it start kind of unraveling. On the escape pod, the thing's sitting there in plain sight, and you don't realize it's in the panel until it lifts its head and looks. And then you realize, oh, shit, this is it's already on board. So for me, that just adds to the suspense. And again, the movie Aliens, it kind of capitalizes on that. They're coming out of the walls. They're coming out of, we got a book, man.
So you said the escape pod scene?
Yeah.
So I'm pulling it up because I want to see this. I didn't catch that, what you said. Okay.
Yeah, it's like its head looks like one of the pipes on the side of the wall. And it just, it's creepy. The way it just pops out.
Oh, there it is. Yep, you're right. Holy shit. And then it's yep. Wow. I just watched that and now going back, I got it up here on my computer. You do, I think they did that on purpose. That maybe that's why the spaceship looked so dirty and dingy, is so they could hide the alien better to create those synthetic scares, or genuine scares rather. It
would not shock me if they tailored it in that fashion to make it easy to do that. because like it's so easy to overlook as an audience, and like when you see it, you're like, oh my god, you get Ripley's reaction when you see it.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. We're too busy watching Ripley around in a t-shirt and panties, and they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
They absolutely did that on purpose.
So you're not looking at the background. Yeah.
You're not looking at the alien. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. How she misses it.
I have one final thought on this movie. Where's the litter box for the cat? We never see it.
Wherever he wants to go.
I mean, you know.
It's Jonesy. Like, if you really want to think about it, when they're in cryo, how do you do your business? They got the cat in the cryo tube too. Like, what are we doing?
They're suspended animation though, right? So I mean, everything stops. So for 70 years, I mean.
So you got to take like a heck of a dump when you wake up.
I'm sure you're sick and you're not feeling well, which is why everybody's
Right.
feeling like really groggy and everything. I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, there's no litter box. In space, there's no litter box.
In space, no one can hear you shit.
Does Ripley going back for Jonesy get Yaphet Kotto and Veronica Cartwright killed in the movie?
I think she gets herself killed in that movie because she just stands there when Parker says get out of the way. Now he has to sacrifice himself and jump in front of the alien. So she kind of gets Parker killed and herself killed. But to her credit, she's not going to do anything. She's frozen in fear, right? Like the whole movie, you knew if she was ever going to be encountered by this thing, she's just going to sit there and be like, So, you know, she gets Parker killed, you know, because Parker could have done something to at least get her some space or whatever. But, you know, once he has to jump in front, that's a wrap for Parker.
Man.
And once he's out of the way, Alien, you know, Lambert's not going to put up a fight. But I know like there's times when I watch this movie, I was like, leave the cat, get out of there. Yeah. Love cats. I have two myself, but you know, you're just like, save yourself, get out.
I have 3 cats, so it's okay.
I know my kids were like, get the cat, get the cat, get the cat. Don't leave the cat. And I'm like, leave it, run.
That's how my son would be.
So final thoughts on Alien.
So hear me out. I would like to see a remake of it.
Wow.
And here is why. The technology that we have in 2024, as opposed they did back then, is so much better. I think you could. And I want to say like a remake. It is a remake, but not a remake. I don't know, kind of like how they keep remaking like Halloween or Texas Chainsaw, something like that. Do have some, you know what? Have Blumhouse do a remake of Alien, and let's see how well that happens.
So there's another sequel coming out in August, Alien Romulus. And it's set in between Alien and Aliens. From the director of See No Evil, Fede Alvarez. Now, Christopher, you and I saw that movie together, and we enjoyed that movie. I'm looking forward to this. Now, a trailer came out this week for it. I don't know if either of you have seen it.
No.
I have not.
It looks
I've seen
pretty good.
pieces of it.
Looks pretty
mixed
good.
Together.
Yeah, it's got me excited for it. So it might, it's not directed by Ridley Scott, which I think is a positive in this sense, because you're getting a fresh director in there with, like you had mentioned, Cody, 2024 technology and camera lenses, and, you know, the thing's going to look nice. I'm eager to see it. See if they do anything interesting with it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So, like, if you have the same director doing the same, he's gonna try to stay with what he knows works. And there's going to be no innovation when it comes to sequels or remakes or anything like that. And I know people are like, "Oh, that's all Hollywood does is just remake, remake, remake." And people railed on it, but I absolutely love the Blumhouse Halloweens, all three of them, even the final one. Halloween is my favorite scary movie. The original sets the bar for slasher movies in suspense, but I really did enjoy the remakes, the trilogy, and I did enjoy Halloween Ends. I have no shame in saying that. So just because it gives you a different perspective, because you sit there and you watch a movie and you're like, well, I would have done this or I would have done that if I was a director, and this gives you the opportunity to expand on it. I don't know.
No, that's a fair take. That's a fair take. Christopher, final thoughts.
I did not enjoy Halloween Ends. I did not enjoy the Halloween Ends movie before that. I could have done without that whole trilogy. I did enjoy Halloween. Halloween's a great movie. Halloween 2 is not a bad movie. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, love Tom Atkins. I could watch him all day long. After that, it just, the car's just going, I'm waiting for, what's the name of the rapper? It's basically American Pie Halloween.
LL Cool J?
No, he was pretty good in that. It was Busta Rhymes was actually.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
Busta Rhymes. Yeah.
Everybody forgets about him.
I forgot he
Yeah.
was in that, yeah.
Yeah, everybody did. And
Listen,
thankfully his agent did too. But
again, the premise of that movie was actually really, really good, just poorly executed. Listen,
I didn't think that was that bad.
Buster Rhymes kicks the shit out of Michael Myers. Really? That's where it lost me. Evil never died.
Oh, man. And with that, Busta Rhymes beating on Michael Myers, we're going to wrap this episode. That was Alien, 45th anniversary. If you've not seen it, you're living under a rock. But if you haven't seen it, seriously, go check it out. Great movie. Stay tuned. We will be back with interesting and funny news stories, and we're going to review box office as well.